the big difference was the goal they scored. We didn't score. We had the chances. We tried a different approach with the players that we had. We had to change during the week, and I'm really pleased with the effort and the way they challenged Tottenham. We create situations. So in the end, I think the biggest difference was that they scored and we didn't. We need to stop focusing on the big picture. It's not the moment to do that. Just focus on the next game. Let's do everything to win some games to finish the season, and then think in the big picture. In this moment, it's just to try to stay with the players healthy, to recover some players, and focus on what we have to do in the next game, and that is our goal.
All right, Mario's still with us. Mario, what do you think is going through the mind of Erik ten Hag as he watches these press conferences from Ruben Amorim?
Yeah.
Continuing sinking ship.
I knew you were going to ask that. No, I think when he watches it, he's probably going to think like, listen, this is something that I was going through. The same thing is happening to him. But one of the key things with Amorim is, you come there. And I know, look, as your background, where you come from, your team was, let's say, to a certain level. But it was clearly not the level where you are right now. So how he brings it across is in the sense of like, no, we have to finish the season and then look at next season. This is Manchester United. People don't think and people don't talk like that. So him saying this will definitely gonna, friction some people, because, your fans and the expectation are gonna be like, hey, are you taking this like it's normal for us to be in this situation? Are you gonna help us getting out of it? And you don't want them to start getting on your back for that reason. And the other side, I understand what he's talking about, because most of the team is not built by him. And you could see the situation he was in. He put so many young kids on the bench. He had, one experienced player on it, and then Casemiro had to start again. But one of the things I don't understand, if Casemiro starts in your team, you understand, Fernandes is your midfielder. Okay, he wants to go forward. Okay, he was kind of disciplined. He did a lot of hard work. But I ask myself, why don't you start in holding it really tight? No, he exposed the team because why? He's looking for the switch, because he likes 5, you understand, and then 5, 4, 1, or whatever system he wants to play, but he wants to pack the back line. So that is the reason. What I'm asking him now is, be careful. Don't expose your team to be too creative, because at this point, you don't have the players to do that.
Forget the on-field stuff. Just, Stevie, in terms of the verbiage, what he's saying. Is he saying the right things to be the Manchester United manager?
Well, he's being forced into saying things that most Manchester United managers wouldn't even dream about. And they are so bad that right now, he can pretty much get away with anything.
And he's pushing it. I mean, he's so defeated and negative sounding. Surely you could be more positive.
But if he was trying to be anything other than telling the truth, we'd be on his back big time, saying, show some respect. We know what we're looking at. Mm-hmm. This team's not good, so don't try and tell us how great they are when they're not. He's not doing that. So I actually don't have any problem with anything he's saying. I think he was dealt a bum hand, and there's nothing he can do with it. I mean, the question is Erik ten Hag sitting at home going, well, I wasn't that bad because he's worse than me? Or is Erik ten Hag thinking, I left him this rubbish? That would be the question. Is Erik ten Hag thinking this is partly my fault?
Is Amorim not bothered that Erik ten Hag did get more out of this team than he did?
I don't think Erik ten Hag comes into Amorim's mind, to be quite honest with you. I think the situation he finds himself in, every single day he's thinking about the next game and trying to figure out how can he get a win and how can he make it better. I think Ten Hag's the last thing on his mind.
But I think we can all agree, though, the fact that we're mentioning the name of Erik ten Hag this far into Ruben Amorim coming to Manchester United and suggesting that this team may have been better off with Erik ten Hag, that in itself is a big deal.
Yeah.
As bad as Manchester United have been, and they have been bad for a while, I never thought that we would actually be having or rehashing this conversation a couple of months later, saying they were getting more results with Ten Hag than they were with this guy. And I'll be the first one to say that Manchester United, yes, they were terrible under Ten Hag. We know that. But the fact that we're rehashing the conversation and his name is being recycled, it tells you how bad this team really have been. They're finding ways, new ways of being bad. And every week you're thinking, maybe not. And look, if we're sitting here miles and miles away from that training facility and we know full well that they're in a completely negative momentum spin, out of control spin, what do you think they're thinking in that locker room and in that training facility, in that coach's room? When he goes into a meeting with his coaches, Ruben Amorim, and he's looking at his assistants, and they're putting the plan together for the week as to how is it that they're going to go about getting a result next week. Do you think there's clarity there? Do you really think there is a plan in place that they feel they can truly execute? No. They're guessing just as we would be guessing in this sort of circumstances.
It's the emptiest feeling ever. Sitting in the dressing room before a game, sending your team out, praying you're going to get a result. Not thinking, if we do this, and if we do this, and if we do this, we're going to get a result. And if he's on his best form and we keep it all nice and tight, and we do, that's not how you think. You're sending them out, and then you shut the door in the room. You go, let's just hope we get it. Just give us a goal, will you? That's what they're doing behind closed doors.
We know he's not going to lose his job this year, but Mario, if things continue to go this bad, could he lose his credibility when we think about heading into next season?
Yeah, definitely. I think. Look, no. One advantage he has. One of the key things is what Ali said. The players who are there are not his hand. You know, it's not like, okay, a couple of guys came in afterwards, but he is not the guy that literally, he must have come in and he wanted the job. We have to also remember, he wanted the job later and he got the job earlier. Okay, he got the job earlier because there was no, choice anymore in him, in the sense of like, you got to take it now and you got to fix it. But he knows now that he puts himself, I think he's even bigger surprised than what he had before. In the beginning, he was looking at it and thought like, okay, I come, I fresh them up, give them some confidence. But the confidence is so low in that team. Even if you watch them play, some of the things, you understand, we have to remember, before he came in, there was one of the kids, for example, in that team, Garnacho, was incredible. Look at him now. He looks lost. I don't see the kid that can hurt a defender, can dribble at him, takes him on, do the things that he normally likes. If I look, like Højlund, works really hard, but where are the goals going to come from? Sometimes I ask myself, let my striker work less so he has more energy to score for me. Those things are not at Man United. They're not dangerous. They don't create anything. So that's why I think they have a big problem. And he has a big problem because the longer he takes this on, even if he kicks in what you asked me about next season, if you don't fix it now, people are going to look at you. You're starting already 1-0 down the new season. You don't want that.
Manchester United then 1-0 losers against Spurs on Sunday.
Double boost and new permanent role. Man United possible strongest 11 versus Everton amid injury crisis following Harry Maguire's last gasp winner against Leicester City in the FA Cup. Manchester United had 9 days to prepare for their next game. United have had to contend with a demanding fixture schedule since Ruben Amorim's appointment in November, meaning clear midweeks have been limited. However, United had the luxury of a free midweek ahead of Sunday's trip to Tottenham Hotspur, offering Amorim a full week on the training ground with his players. Naturally, an extended period of time to prepare for the clash with Spurs increased positivity levels among United supporters. They had seen the benefit of extended preparation time during last month's trips to Liverpool and Arsenal. However, it came to light on Saturday that Amorim would be travelling to the capital with a depleted squad. The biggest blow of all saw Ahmad confirm he faces a spell on the sidelines with an ankle injury. Amorim does not expect him to play again this season. Midfielders Kobbie Mainoo and Manuel Ugarte were also ruled out, likewise Toby Collier. By the time United arrived at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium not much less than an hour before kickoff, it was revealed Lenny Yoro and Christian Eriksen had joined the list of absentees, each missing out through illness. It meant Amorim had no choice but to fill almost all of his bench with youngsters. 7 academy players made the bench in total, with Victor Lindelof the only member of the 9-man bench to have ever played for the first team. Of course, United were beaten 1-0 by Spurs, despite producing a valiant effort in the circumstances. Had Alejandro Garnacho or Joshua Zirkzee been a little bit more composed in front of goal, United would have claimed a point at the very least. Next up for the Reds is a farewell trip to Goodison Park to face Everton on Saturday lunchtime. Amorim will issue an update on the team news when he faces the media later this week at Carrington, but he admitted he was hopeful of recovering Yoro and Eriksson for the short trip to Merseyside. Speaking in Sunday's post-match press conference, Amorim said, "Let's wait a few more days. I think Lenny and Chris were sick, so they will recover. Chris has the heart situation and we have to be really careful with that. It's nothing about the heart. I'm just saying the heart rate has to be controlled because he has a fever. I think they will recover and the rest we will see. If the duo recover in time and are deemed fit enough to start, it would be no surprise to see Amorim throw them straight into the starting 11. Eriksson has had some bright moments this season and almost certainly would have started against his former club at the weekend had he been available. Andre Onana was the only senior goalkeeper available on Sunday and he will keep his place against David Moyes' side. Yoro will be in contention to join him in the starting 11 and could join forces with Harry Maguire and Matthijs de Ligt in the back three. Both Noussair Mazraoui and Diogo Dalot started against Spurs, with the latter operating at right wing-back. He struggled to contain Son Heung-min, regularly being beaten by the Spurs captain, but he has rarely been left out by Amorim. Patrick Dorgu got his first start on the left in London and produced a promising performance. He should now be aspiring to make the left wing-back berth his own. Casemiro will be under pressure to keep his place in the centre of midfield after attesting 91 minutes at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. He lacks the intensity to play the way Amorim wants his team to, meaning Bruno Fernandes and Eriksson would be a logical midfield pairing should the Dane recover. Zirkzee offered flashes of promise playing as one of the number 10s on Sunday, linking the play. Despite being signed as an option up front, Zirkzee looks far more comfortable playing behind a striker and he should now be seen as a number 10 and not a striker. Garnacho can fill the left-sided role. Rasmus Højlund is the only senior option available to lead the line. Despite making his debut at Spurs, Amorim won't unleash Chido Obi from the start. United's strongest 11 versus Everton with double injury boost: Onana, Yoro, Maguire, de Ligt, Dalot, Eriksson, Fernandes, Dorgu, Zirkzee, Garnacho. Manchester United have accidentally signed a player perfect for Ruben Amorim's system. It goes without saying that Joshua Zirkzee was not the striker Manchester United needed last summer to provide support and competition for Rasmus Højlund. The Dane had enjoyed a productive first season at Old Trafford, scoring a respectable 16 goals, but there was still a feeling that he would benefit from being able to lean on a more established goal-getter as he continued to adjust to life in England. Instead, United invested €36.5 million in Zirkzee, signing him from Bologna after a campaign that had seen him score 12 goals in 37 games. United supporters were fully prepared to give him a chance to prove his worth, noting the stark differences between his attributes and Højlund. Zirkzee arrived at Old Trafford having developed a reputation for being a forward that likes to drop deep, collect possession and link play. That has been reflected in his tally of just 5 goals this season. "I occasionally drop down to midfield," said Zirkzee, speaking ahead of the start of this season. "I don't do that for myself but to help the team. I am what I call a false striker. Not a number 9, not a number 10. I am a 9.5. That's my game." Throughout his debut campaign in United colours, Zirkzee has demonstrated that he is not a natural number 9, despite being brought to Old Trafford to score goals. At the time of Zirkzee's arrival, United were wedded to a 4-3-3 formation under former manager Erik ten Hag, meaning Zirkzee was directly competing with Højlund to lead the attack. Arguments were put forward for him to try and prove his worth from the number 10 position, but that role, judging by Zirkzee's pre-season comments, would have limited him. United have since transitioned to a 3-4-2-1 formation under Ruben Amorim. The system does not rely on wingers, with 2 number 10s playing fairly centrally and close to the centre forward. Amorim has continued to experiment with his team in recent months, not least his number 10s, with various combinations being used. Zirkzee has played as a number 10 twice, with his most recent opportunity coming during Sunday's 1-0 defeat to Tottenham Hotspur. Despite being guilty of spurning a great opportunity in the second half that could have earned United a point, his performance was very encouraging. He held the ball up well, demonstrated a good sense of awareness and ended the game with an 81% passing accuracy. I think Josh is not a clear 9, he played more as a number 10, said Amorim. He's stronger physically, he's working really hard and he played in a better position for him and he's improving. He's winning more duels, he's even faster, and you feel it in the game. United might have signed a player who can fill a role, particularly with Kobbie Mainoo and Ahmad now sidelined, that did not even exist at the start of the campaign.